Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for listening in to my podcast, which, by the way, I have come up with a name. Are you guys ready? Drum roll, please. Magician with a microphone. I know, right? It's simple. And of course, where do I get this idea? Where do I get this idea for, such a brilliant name, such a name that is so simple, yet so descriptive at the same time? Well, I'm glad you asked. It came from where every other good idea comes from, the toilet. Came from the toilet. Yeah, I was getting ready to take a shower, and I'm thinking of podcast names. I'm like, dude, I can't just keep calling this thing my podcast. Doesn't work like that. And throwing some ideas around in my head. And I wanted it to be something like, cards, kayfabe, and because I like to talk about wrestling and I like to talk about magic and a bunch of other things. But I was like, nah, that doesn't really sound good. Then I thought of tricks, teas, and tag teams, and I was like, yeah, that might work, but at the same time, I don't want to be too broad, or not really broad, specific with my topics, because I do, I do plan on having different people on my podcast. I want to have different types of people, different entertainers, people in the entertainment industry, maybe some wrestling related people. There are going to be some podcasts where it's dedicated to just wrestling, where it's dedicated to just magic, Like today, I'm going to be talking about a few things, mainly because I was watching WrestleMania Backlash. Oh my God. WrestleMania Backlash. What the hell kind of name is WrestleMania Backlash? I understand Backlash. Backlash has always been a great pay-per-view. Backlash was actually really famous for Shane McMahon jumping off the Titantron onto the Big Show. That was Backlash. Backlash is when Batista and Undertaker, they were in the last man standing match, and Batista speared Taker off the stage and it basically collapsed on him and exploded. That's Backlash, and then they cut Backlash for a while. But everybody knows what Backlash is. It's a good pay-per-view, man. Probably in my top 5 favorite pay-per-views. And granted, I really don't know. I can't really decipher what my favorite pay-per-views are. Oh man, I gotta think about this now, man. Now I'm on the topic of wrestling. I can talk about, because I had to turn off Backlash about halfway through. I lost interest after that fucking Miz versus Damian Priest, Punishment Martinez, whatever he's going by now. And the zombie thing. Like, really? Zombies? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. Damian Priest's character isn't even zombie related. He's like a dude from hell. He's like a Satanist or something. At least that's the vibe I get off of him. But zombies? And then they fucking eat Jomo? Really? Like, they eat John Morrison. They, kill him. So what did they do? Did they kill off Miz and Morrison? Are they going to be bringing, is the Fiend going to reincarnate them? Which, I personally, the Fiend needs some more time off. We'll just get to that. But I don't understand. I don't understand where they're going with this. I don't understand what the direction in general with WWE is at this point. I really don't know. And I've been a loyal wrestling fan since I was 6 years old. Maybe even, no, hold on, let me see. I was born in 93 and about 4 or 5 years old, because my first recollection of wrestling ever was The Rock throwing Stone Cold's belt off the bridge and then knocking him off the bridge. That's the first thing I remember in wrestling. To this day, one of my favorite moments. And I personally think that the Rock Austin feud was in the top 2 greatest feuds of all time. I put it as number 1, but I would say that if there was anything that ever came close to it, it was probably Edge and John Cena. And I know people are going to be like, dude, Edge and John Cena, what? That only lasted 9 months. What are you talking about? Why not Randy Orton versus Cena, which lasted a couple years? Why not Why not Vince McMahon and Stone Cold? Why not, The Rock and Triple H? What about Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart? Understand something. When I got into wrestling, I was not allowed to watch wrestling. I had to sneak it. My mom did not want me watching it. My aunts did not want me watching it because my cousin and I would wrestle each other on the trampoline and we'd hurt each other. We got in big trouble one day because we were emulating the Sandman. Remember the Sandman when he would come out to enter Sandman, take the beer can, smash it over his head, and draw blood? Well, we tried doing that with like Dr. Pepper cans. We got in big trouble. That was actually an Easter. I think it was Easter weekend. But yeah, so like I would try wrestling moves with my brothers and stuff, and like I was told I could not watch it, so I'd have to sneak it. But I would talk about wrestling with my friends in school. I'd watch clips of it on like back when YouTube was like first a thing. I'd watch it on there, and I'd get the WWF magazines, WCW magazines. I wanted to collect the action figures. I was mainly into the belts. I really liked the belts. I think the belts were it because I've always wanted a custom championship title. My favorite championship title of all time is the Edge, the Rated R spinner belt. And basically everybody knows that if you're ever going to get me one custom thing, like one expensive thing, there's two things that you can get me. You can pick between one of them and I'd be happy. It's either a exact replica Eddie Van Halen Frankenstrat down to the exact detail, which they sell. You can get them customized, or a WWE Rated R spinner belt. Those are the two things. If I were to ever like put some serious money into it as a collector's item, those would be the two things that you can get me. And I'm working on building an Eddie Van Halen guitar, and I used to take the spinner belt, the plastic spinner belt replica, and I would like make little inserts for the spinner itself, and I would tape it to it. So at one point it looked like I had a Rated R belt, but it wasn't real. But I don't know. I always loved the Rated R belt, and I think it also because the fact that it was originated in, I think it was debuted in Bridgeport. Yeah, because the day that they threw the WWE Championship into Long Island Sound, when Lita did it, and then afterwards Cena threw Edge into Long Island Sound, that was the night they debuted the WWE Rated R spinner belt. So, a little bit of, Connecticut history. Connecticut's got a lot of wrestling history. It's where The Undertaker debuted. It's where, oh, Jesus Christ, let's see. What else? It's where the Rated R spinner belt came into play. It's where Triple H threw Mick Foley through the top of the cage and he went through the ring in Hell in a Cell at No Way Out. It's where Brock Lesnar won Money in the Bank. Let's see. At one point, it was Hulk Hogan's last WWE appearance at WrestleMania. No, at the 15th anniversary of Raw, which I was at. Yeah. NXT TakeOver 25 was there. There's a lot of really awesome things that have happened in Connecticut. The first SmackDown took place in New Haven. The very first pilot episode SmackDown, we're talking before the Fist, happened in New Haven. So, a lot of people, and of course there's all the stuff at the Titan Tower, which is down in Stamford, but a lot of people don't realize that's some major stuff. That's some major wrestling history. And unless you're a wrestling buff like me, you wouldn't know. Every time I look at the XL Center in Hartford, I'm like, The Undertaker debuted there. Mark Calloway became The Undertaker and walked out for the first time as The Undertaker at the XL Center. At the time, it was the Hartford Civic Center. But yeah, I love wrestling, but I don't know how to feel about it nowadays. It's getting better. The talent is definitely better, but I'm sorry, as long as Vince McMahon is still in charge, it's not going to get, storyline wise and theatric wise, it will not get better. As long as Vince is in charge, it's going to stay the way it's staying, and there's going to be horrible Vince Russo-like decisions that are being made, and I hate to say it, but you know what? Vince, look, you're out of touch. You can't say, as a wrestling fan, you cannot say that you do not like Vince McMahon. You can't. It's impossible. Because Vince McMahon is the reason why you like wrestling. Hate to say it. It ain't WCW. It ain't the territories. It's not, AEW. It's Vince McMahon and the WWF. Everybody knows who Stone Cold... Every wrestling fan knows who Stone Cold Steve Austin is. Every wrestling fan knows who Hulk Hogan is. They know who The Rock is. They know who The Undertaker is. Every single wrestling... If you are a wrestling fan and you don't know... you don't know who said Austin 316 says I just kicked your ass. Like, if you can't recite that, if you don't know who said what, if you don't know, there's certain things as a wrestling fan. You lose your fan card, you lose your mark card if you don't know certain things, And then again, I mean, half of it's useless information. I get made fun of all the time because I like wrestling. My buddies fuck with me all the time because they think, I like wrestling. Wrestling's, the dreaded F word. It's fake, which it's not fake. It's predetermined. The only thing fake about it is the fact that the wrestlers know the ending, and that they have to adhere to certain endings and certain match outcomes to maintain a storyline, but they do get hurt. Owen Hart broke Stone Cold's neck. Mick Foley got thrown off of a 16-foot cage onto wood and concrete. And it's like people think that that's all fake. Like, the tables are real. The chair shots are real. Trust me, I used to wrestle. I know this stuff. It hurts taking a shot from a kendo stick. It hurts falling off a ladder. Trust me, I've done that. It sucks, it sucks that you know what's going on and you can tell when it's an injury and when it's not an injury, and people will still say that it's fake. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. You can think it's fake all you want, but I never want to hear you talking about the Avengers again. All right? You're saying that, you're saying that The Undertaker isn't really a dead man, but you're going to sit there and invest your time and effort into The Walking Dead. You're gonna tell me that Kane isn't really the devil's favorite demon and that he's just, a guy playing a character. I don't want you fanboying over Game of Thrones. It doesn't work like that, okay? And until you can admit that movies are fake, you cannot talk shit about wrestling. And even then, wrestlers are out there 300 days a year. They're away from their families. They're doing what they love to do. There is a risk to it. So just understand that the next time that you want to go and say that wrestling isn't real, okay? Because it is. New Jack just passed away. Just had a heart attack. I hate to hear that. I was friends with the New Jack on Facebook too. I was friends with the New Jack page and the Jerome Young page. He was a funny motherfucker, man. He was savage on Facebook. He didn't care. Like, his New Jack character and his real life character were actual things. Like, they were real. Kind of funny, I'll admit. It was, like, he would go and post shit, and then somebody would say something. He would just, like, cut a promo, like, right there on Facebook on him. He responded to me a few times, which I thought was really cool. It was a little bit of a mark out moment. Unfortunately, I never got to meet him in person, but, it sucks. Sucks that he passed away. I hate to see, wrestlers dying young. And, it's exactly that. He died young. He did not deserve to die when he did. I guess it was a heart attack. I think he had a heart attack. That's what they were saying. And it just, that sucks, man. Really, really, really sucks. So, condolences to New Jack's family, his wife. I know he has kids. So, definitely going to miss him on Facebook. So, but anyways, so getting back to Backlash, right? So, first off, WrestleMania Backlash. Why are you going to add two names to the same pay-per-view, all right? What's next? I know WrestleMania Money in the Bank is going to be next, and then followed by that, later in the year, we've got WrestleMania SummerSlam. And then I cannot wait for WrestleMania Hell in a Cell. That's going to be a good one. And then they book WrestleMania Survivor Series after that, and I think WrestleMania TLC is coming up at the end of the year. Who knows? Maybe CM Punk will come back at next year's WrestleMania Royal Rumble. Then the WrestleMania Fastlane, that's usually the boring pay-per-view. And then you got WrestleMania. And then what's going to happen after that? Is it going to be WrestleMania Backlash? Like, what? I don't understand. How are they going to... Is this going to be a never-ending cycle of WrestleManias until they actually keep up with the number of WrestleMania names that they have as the number of WrestleManias that there have been? I don't know. But then again, we're also talking about the same company who came up with the name Great Balls of Fire for a pay-per-view, which, I hate to say it, it had a really good main event. Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar kicked fucking ass that night. I just wish that it was a better pay-per-view name, because you're not going to tell somebody to watch, oh, dude, Brock Lesnar and Samoa Joe went at it last night. Oh, really? What was the show called? Great Balls of Fire. I'm not watching that shit. Great Balls of Fire. Get the fuck out of here. They could have named it something like Collision or something. I don't know. Some stupid. Or maybe they could have brought back a pay-per-view. Like No Mercy or Vengeance or fucking... Oh, then again, they just had Vengeance at pre-WrestleMania. It was like, what? Vengeance Day. Vengeance Day. That was a stupid name. Yeah, they could have, like bring back Judgment Day, dude. Judgment Day was one of my favorite pay-per-views, only because I really loved the stages. And that was another thing that played into the big factor of me being a wrestling fan. I loved the stages. I thought that the stages, like, to this day, when WrestleMania season comes around, I'm Googling, like, aerial shots of what the arena looks like, or, like, what the stadium looks like, so that way I can see what the stage is going to look like, because to me, that's half the show right there. Wow, I just coughed. Like, for me, my personal favorite WrestleMania stage is 23, just because it's so damn big. And it was pre-HD. It was the last WrestleMania before WWE went HD, but it was like, it looked so cool. It looked like a stage that you would want to walk out on. And then you had the year after WrestleMania 24, which was, again, another one of my favorites. I personally think that was one of the coolest looking ones. It was literally a building outside. They built a building with LED lights and fireworks attached to it, so that way the wrestlers can come out. And I mean, seeing Edge's entrance on that thing was crazy. And then, it had to be the accident at the very end of 24 where the pyro it disconnected from the stage and ended up in the audience during Undertaker's, when he won the title from Edge. Yeah. So hopefully that never happens again. But you got some awesome stages, and then you got some shitty stages. And here's the thing. So when I talk wrestling stages, I'm talking from like WrestleMania 17 up, because 16 and down they had some shit stages. They sucked. Because 1, 2, and 3 didn't have stages. 4 kind of did. 5 and 6 were... No. I'm sorry. 4 and 5 kind of did because they were in the same location. 6 was, the entrance way. I believe 7 was where they had the... And I could be wrong. You could correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe 7 was the LED... Or not the LED, but like the neon light board. 8 was probably the same thing. 9 was Caesar's Palace, which, let's face it, we don't talk about that WrestleMania. 10 was the... what the hell was 10? Oh, yeah, 10 was at the Garden, that sliding X. I believe 11, 12, and 13 were the same stage. They were just different colors. They had the same stage cutout that they put in front of the tunnel. They just painted it differently and slapped another logo on it. 14 sucked. 15 was the XV. That was alright, I guess. 16 was okay. To me, that just looked like it was 2 tractor trailers backed up into each other with projections on them. 17 was the oversized Raw stage, but at the same time, it's so damn iconic, 18, and this is the thing I heard about 18. 18 was the one with the big scaffolding. They're, X8, however the hell they're calling it. That was the one with the big scaffolding. And I heard that wasn't done. I heard that they stopped building it halfway because they were running out of time. So they just left it how it was. I don't know how true that is, considering that the screens were behind the stage, the scaffolding. I don't know. But I've always thought that one was pretty cool. 19 I thought was cool because it kind of built itself around the baseball field. 20 sucked. I don't care what anyone says. 20 sucked. 20, I don't, they had the buildings, they had the LED floor and everything, the screen floor. It sucked. They could have done so much better with it. And that's the thing about Madison Square Garden is I've seen stage setups in Madison Square Garden where it looks like the regular wrestling stage. Survivor Series is a perfect example when The Rock and Cena tagged up against Miz and Truth. That was a regular stage. That looked really cool, but then you got they try to use that tunnel, which isn't even there anymore. 21, which one was 21? Was that Hollywood? Yeah, with the star, which was all right, I guess. 22 with the Chicago buildings was okay. They could have done a lot more with that, but they didn't. It was just three big squares. Again, 23 is my favorite. That's when they really were playing with the LED lights and everything like that, making it look really big. 24, the building was amazing. 25 sucked. I hated that screen. 26 sucked. I hated that whole pyramid thing. I hated all of WrestleMania 26. To me, 26 and 27 are the worst Manias. 27 had a good stage, though. I like that spider effect looking thing that they had. 28 was eh. I was at 29, so seeing it in person, it was magnificent. It was gigantic. The Statue of Liberty was almost as big as the actual Statue of Liberty, which is fucking crazy if you think about it. It was enormous. Then you had the Empire State Building and then the Brooklyn Bridge, which they were all very accurate. Maybe one day I'll talk about my WrestleMania 21 experience. 30 I think was okay. I like the triple, that was the porn one, the triple X. 31 sucked. 32 sucked. But I understand why it was so small. Because they wanted to get the 100,000, the quote 100,000. There wasn't really 100,000 people there. 33 was... Which one was 33? 33 was Orlando. Yeah, with the roller coaster. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Especially with the ramp going from like the top of the actual stage, like over the crowd. That was awesome. Even though I've always wondered, how did the people sitting right next to that thing see? Because it looked like there were people sitting right next to it. I don't know. I feel like that would have been a waste of money. 34 was okay. I wasn't really a big fan of the mask. 35. Which one was 35? Oh, that was the big square. That sucked. Let's face it. I was really expecting something big for WrestleMania 35 with it coming back to New York City. And the fact that they had to top the Brooklyn Bridge, and they didn't. They put a big fucking rectangle with LEDs on it. No. It garbage. 36 we don't talk about. And then 37 this year with the pirate ship. Now, I'm wondering if that's what the 36 stage was supposed to be. Because they never released what it was supposed to look like. Because I know that they kept the same theme. But I'm wondering if what we had this year was what it was supposed to be last year. And I guess next year is supposed... Is next year supposed to be LA or is that Dallas? And then the year after that is LA. Because I know they're going to LA at one point with the new stadium. But I've always been interested in WrestleMania, just the theatrics of it and stuff. And, to me, being a performer, being a magician, being somebody who makes a living on stage and in front of people, I feel like, what they see when they first walk in counts. And if they don't see a lot, you better make do with what you have. So, I was talking about Backlash, WrestleMania Backlash. I had to turn it off halfway. I was not a fan of it. The Rhea Ripley match was good. I skipped right through the Damian Priest match. Once I saw those zombies, I was like, I am not fucking investing my time in this. The Rey Mysterio, Dominic Mysterio match was really good. Congratulations to Dominic for winning the tag team title. The WWE Championship, Bobby retained. Everybody retained their titles, except for Rude and Ziggler. So I guess it was predictable, but at the same time, it's like, the matches were okay. They were. It's not something I would openly go back and watch. Like, oh man, I'm bored. Let me go watch WrestleMania Backlash from 2021. No. Every once in a while, I'll go back and watch a Survivor Series. My favorite pay-per-views are the Royal Rumble. I make sure I get the Royal Rumble. I make sure I watch it every single year. I do not miss the Royal Rumble. Mainly because I'm still hopeful that Punk will return. And yes, I am one of those guys. I want CM Punk to come back. okay? He's never going to, but I would love to see it for two reasons. One, the pop is going to be absolutely massive. And two, the fans will finally shut the fuck up. Because let's face it, they got annoying after a while. CM Punk leaving is the reason why I don't like Daniel Bryan. And I don't like Daniel Bryan. I never did. I can't say I never did. I liked Daniel Bryan when he was still in NXT. But I thought that he was highly annoying during the Yes movement. I thought he was very annoying during, the whole let me come back from injury. When he turned heel, that's when they did it right. He was cutting some great promos. He was, making some good points. And then they turn a babyface again, But, heel Daniel Bryan is the reason, Kofi Kingston's WWE Championship win was so good. I hate to say it, Daniel Bryan should have never turned babyface. I think he should have been heel during WrestleMania this year. But he wasn't, It was that whole last chance thing. It was the whole, this might be my last ever chance to do this. So they're just going to insert him. I personally think they shouldn't have. They could have put him in so many other matches. They could have given him so many different opponents that were, worthy of facing him. Personally, the way I would have booked it is I wouldn't have put him in the WWE Championship match. As a matter of fact, I would have let Edge win it. Okay, if they wanted Daniel Bryan in the WrestleMania title picture, okay, this is what I would have done. Okay, I would have had Daniel Bryan win Money in the Bank, and I'll tell you why. Because one, they made a complete and total fool of The Miz again. The Miz has been more than deserving of a WWE Championship in the last 10 years. And when he finally wins it, they give it to him for a week, only to lose it to Lashley. So I think that's bullshit. But I think what they should have done was they should have let Daniel Bryan hold on to the champion, or to the Money in the Bank briefcase, okay? Edge comes back. Edge wins the Rumble from number one. So now they can finally say that, oh yeah, there's been multiple winners from number one. Shawn Michaels and Edge did it, and they talk about that. So they don't have to, hint at Benoit. Don't get me started on Benoit either, because people don't like my opinion on him. And so I would have had Edge go into WrestleMania against Roman Reigns as the babyface. Edge would have been babyface, okay? Have Roman lose the title, and then had Daniel Bryan attempt to cash in on Edge. And then have him lose. But it wouldn't have been like a quick squash match. It would have been like a good 15-minute match, Let that be your main event. Let, Daniel Bryan, give him his main event. You knocked Roman Reigns out of there. Roman Reigns is technically the main event, but Daniel Bryan goes in. He's got this one last hurrah. He's like, you know what? I'll give it everything I've got, and Edge ends up hitting a spear. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, Daniel, you didn't win the championship. And then we see Daniel Bryan, fade away into the sunset, classify himself as obsolete. That's how I would have done it. That's how I personally would have booked the pay-per-view. Booked Daniel Bryan's leaving anyway, because how the hell are you going to make him leave on a SmackDown? And apparently he's got a compete clause. He can go other places. His contract doesn't have a no complete standard where he can, he's got to stop wrestling completely for, 90 days, I think. So he can show up in AEW on Wednesday. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to him, but you know what? It's I hate to say it, but because of the fact that he was shoved down everybody's throats and given all these opportunities when really he didn't deserve it. CM Punk could have easily been in the main event of WrestleMania if they had gone with CM Punk beating Triple H, because I have a feeling that's where it was going to go and they just didn't want to tell him. I have a feeling that Triple H and CM Punk were going to be the opening match, and at one point during their hype, they were going to add Punk to the main event. Because I've heard that, But at the same time, if Punk also stayed around for another year, he would have main evented WrestleMania because there were so many people on the injured list at 31. There were so many people who were out. He could have done it if he had stuck around. But he didn't. He went to UFC and got his ass kicked by Mickey Gall. So, but I am hopeful for a Punk return. I really am. I kind of wish it would happen. Again, just to shut the fans up, and because I know that pop's going to be huge, and because he still has a lot left in the tank. Let's face it, like the best time during the PG era was CM Punk. Punk and Cena during the whole Money in the Bank feud, that was insane. That was crazy, man. That was like Attitude Era shit during the PG era. I mean, shit. Like, I wanted ice cream for 3 months after that. But then SummerSlam could have been the big blow off, and then they had to give it to Del Rio. Like, here's the thing. Like, WWE books their shit so badly, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand how they get away with half the shit they get away with, knowing the fact that the fans are gonna get pissed, I have a friend who works for WWE, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not going to tell you how I know him. But he's told me in the past that, the booking had to change. This is long before he was working there, but like, when your opinions are the same after, Jesus, 6-7 years, more than that, almost 10 years, something's wrong. You're doing something wrong. So, I don't know. I don't work there. I wish I did. I really wish I was a booker with WWE. Maybe things would be a little different. Because I don't know. I think it'd be a lot of fun trying that stuff. Yeah, I would like to book a wrestling show. I'd like to book a storyline, see, just kind of see where it goes. I've got ideas, but, I can't really... I'm not really good at writing the shit down or, like, recording it or anything. As I'm saying that on a podcast, go figure. But, let's see. So we're at 31. I'm going to go to 45 minutes. So, did a couple of golf reviews this week. Played at Fairchild Wheeler in Bridgeport. Technically Fairfield, but it's like the mailbox is in Bridgeport, I guess. The first tee is in Bridgeport. With my other channel, CT Golf Reviews, you guys go and check that out. But I like doing it. I really like playing golf. I really, really like. It's been such a muse for me the past couple of weeks. I've got a lot of shit going on. I'm not going to talk about it today. I might get into it next week. Like next week's podcast might get really dark. I'm not sure. So it depends on what kind of mood I'm in and if I can get an interview, which I'm trying to do too. I'm trying to get a couple of people on this podcast. I want to get my buddies Pete and Chris, who are with Pete and Chris Amusements. I'd like to get Gary Peterson from the Bijou. I would like to, there's a couple of people that I would like to get. Maybe I'm thinking like, maybe my buddy Carlos. Maybe I could talk to him about law stuff. Maybe he can talk to me about, I don't know. I want variety. I want something that like everybody can listen to. I want an interest for everyone. So, the hell was I saying? Yeah. So I played golf, played pretty well. I forgot the one part that goes to the top of my tripod. So I had to like configure my phone so that way I can film, and it was a pain in the dick. That's all I can say. I'm never going to forget that piece again. There's actually a piece, that spare piece is in my golf bag as we speak. So, but I like to play because it takes my mind away from everything in my life. And, with all the shit that I had to go through in the past year, and the fact that, I've lost a lot of things, and I've really got the short end of the stick with a lot of things in the past year, even longer than that. It's like, and then people turn around and say, well, you shouldn't be playing golf. It costs too much money. Dude, let me hit a fucking ball around. You got your own problems. I got my own problems. I know how to deal with mine. Or at least I try to deal with mine. It doesn't help that I drink my fucking life away, but it's all right. Again, another podcast. So, yeah. But I had fun. I'm really working on improving my drives. I'm really working on, I'm trying to hit my drive straighter. Like, with power, but with accuracy. And I've been figuring out, I believe my problem right now is my grip. It's my grip. It's how I hold the club. I hold it way too tight. Everybody says loosen up a little bit, which I've been trying to do. I hit a ball 320 yards the other day. So something must be going right. And it's funny because, going back to wrestling, when I'm not playing golf, or, like doing the review, like when I'm not playing golf for my channel, if I'm out on the course, I'll listen to wrestling podcasts, shoot interviews, Jim Cornette, stuff, funny wrestling stuff, behind the scenes things, and it's just relaxing. Either that or I'll listen to country music. I find that for some reason, country music helps me relax on the course. I don't listen to rock. Or I'll put on other podcasts. I'll put on, the Be a Man Experience, which I think is really funny. I'll put on Joe Rogan. I'll put on, the Rick Shields podcast, really anything that kind of gets me going, gets me, motivated and stuff. I'll book gigs. Like, perfect example. I was on the 17th hole over at Fairchild on the black course, and I was literally mid-gig. I was booking a gig, and I hit the ball, and it was a hole-in-one that bounced out of the cup. And I wasn't filming it, but I was booking a gig. So, yeah, so I'll do anything on the course. It's fun, it's relaxing, and just gets me out and gets me active and keeps my mind free. So, if you ever want to come out and play with me, who knows, maybe I'll do a podcast while we're out on the course. That would be a cool idea. Maybe that's how I'll interview my buddy PJ. Maybe that's how we'll do it. We'll play a round of golf, and I'll get him on the podcast that same day. Because I want to interview PJ as well. Because I'm going to be on his podcast soon, NXT and We, which you can go and check out. NXT and We. Any platform, any podcast platform. Go and check him out. Very entertaining stuff. Him and Brett, who I know as Ace Reed. Because we used to wrestle together. PJ and I used to wrestle together. That's how we know each other. I used to go by Scott Hughes. That was my ring name. And now that I think about it, I could have had a better nickname. I could have had like Vic Velocity or something. I've always said that if I ever go back into wrestling, if I ever were to start training again, which I can't do because my anemia is way too bad, I would go by Vic Velocity because I don't think there's any other wrestler out there. I also always liked the Velocity show, the wrestling show. It's like a SmackDown pre-show. So, but yeah. Well, Jesus, I just drew a blank. That was weird. I had a thought and then it went away, disappeared. So, good news because I'm going to be closing this up very soon. I got to get out of my little office right now, get to sleep, and because tomorrow I'm actually going with Pete and Chris to New York. Going into Tarrytown to do a trivia night. So that's going to be a lot of fun. The weekends for me they're pretty booked. They're very booked. I've got Thursdays. I should be at Shafrio every week, but I'm not. Understandably, because they're not really busy yet. But Thursdays might be dedicated to Shafrio. Fridays for now, I'm at the station in Naugatuck. If you guys, and this is if you guys want to come and see me perform close-up magic. Fridays I am at the station in Naugatuck on Water Street, literally right next to the train station. That's why it's called the station. It was the train station at one point. Then it was the historical center. Center. Shit, Chris, talk, think, breathe. It was the Historical Society before it was the station. And it's funny because my first Magic promo picture was me levitating a kid in front of the fireplace, which is now like table 38 or something like that. And then Saturdays, I will be at Il Posto. Posto? Something. In Norwalk. I'll have to get the exact pronunciation for the name. That'll be at 7. All the while, at the times before that, I've got festivals. I've got birthday parties. I've got other gigs. So it's going to be busy for me, man. It's going to be really, really busy. And I like that because I need to keep my mind occupied. I really need to keep myself busy or else I'm going to go crazy. I really am. And I'm not just talking out of boredom. I'm talking like I really need to like keep my mind out of certain places that it's been. So there's that. Hopefully I can get my buddy Greg Dwyer on my show too. because I've been on his podcast. I'm actually doing his podcast 2 Sundays from now, May 30th. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I always like talking to Greg. Greg's voice to me, I don't know why, is like ASMR. He has such a soothing voice. You ever get the chance, listen to his podcast, Diamond Mind Potential, or his TV show, which is also on YouTube, Mindful Conversations. You'll understand why I think the way I do about this guy. He's very, very good. Former magician, now motivational speaker, and his mind is amazing. So, wow, I gave away a lot of shout outs today, huh? PJ's podcast, Greg's podcast. You might as well go and check out my buddy Alex. Wow, I almost said his last DJing name, which was Al Jody, which I actually came up with that for him because it was just the first 2 letters of each one of his names. But no, not Al Jody. Has now evolved to Mookie on the Beat, who I had on the last podcast, my buddy Alex. Go and check him out. He's got some good stuff out there. If you guys ever need beats, go and hit him up. He's amazing. So, but guys, I'm going to get going. Thank you for listening. I really hope that you guys have a good rest of your day, good rest of your night, good rest of your week, whenever you're listening to this. Again, this is the Magician with a Microphone podcast.